Someone shifted my property line overnight and assumed I wouldn't push back. I hadn't even gotten out of my truck before something in my gut told me this wasn't right. Bright red survey flags were planted into the ground in a straight, deliberate line, like this had been carefully planned. And then I saw it. A fence. Brand new. Fresh wood. Tight wire. Professionally done. And the worst part? It didn't just cut across my land. It blocked my access to the lake like I'd never had any right to it in the first place. I reached out, running my hand along the wire. Solid. This wasn't an accident. This was intentional. Don't touch that. The voice came from behind me. I turned slowly and saw her. The HOA president. Arms crossed, sunglasses on, completely still. Like everything in front of me already belonged to her. Like she'd been waiting for this exact moment. She didn't step forward or even shift her weight. Just stood there, completely in control. "You're trespassing," she said. I looked at her for a moment, then pointed at the ground. "You're the one standing on it." Her expression didn't change. According to our updated survey, this section now falls under HOA jurisdiction. Updated. No notice. No meeting. No permission. Just taken. I started walking along the fence, forcing myself to stay calm with every step. "You can't just move a boundary," I said. She gave a faint smile. "We didn't move it. We corrected it." Then she leaned in slightly, lowering her voice. "If you interfere with HOA property, you'll be held liable." She said it like the outcome was already decided. This is usually where people back down. Legal threats, court fees, pressure. That's how they get away with it. But I stopped, turned back to her slowly. "You're sure about this?" I asked. "Absolutely." "Good," I said after a pause. "I was hoping you'd say that." For the first time, something flickered across her face. Confusion. Small, but there. She didn't understand yet. That fence wasn't their power move. It was their biggest mistake. I held her gaze a moment longer. Because that fence didn't protect anything. It exposed something they really didn't want you to notice. And right then, the entire situation shifted. They just didn't realize it yet. That night, I didn't argue. I didn't call the HOA. I didn't even step back outside. Instead, I sat down and pulled out every document tied to my property. Deeds, surveys, easements, old legal filings. If they wanted to turn this into a legal fight, I needed to know exactly where I stood. That's when I found it. Buried deep in the paperwork was an access agreement the HOA had relied on for years. But the wording was clear. They didn't own the road. They were only granted permission to use it for access. And permission isn't ownership. Permission can be revoked under specific conditions, especially when tied to changes in land use. I read it again, then again, because once it clicked, everything they had done started to look very different. That fence they built along my property line wasn't just trespassing. It triggered a legal chain reaction they clearly hadn't thought through. The next morning, I moved carefully. I called a licensed surveyor to confirm the exact boundaries. I had an attorney go through the access agreement line by line. I pulled official county records to make sure there were no gaps, no gray areas, no room for manipulation, no tie-ins, just facts. By the next day, everything was confirmed, so I acted. Contractors showed up on my property and started working along the access route. Heavy-duty steel posts were driven deep into the ground. Industrial fencing went up fast. A secure, lock gate followed, complete with official legal signage. No threats, no arguments, just enforcing rights I already had. By sunset, the road the HOA had been using for years, the same road they depended on to reach the lake properties behind my land, was completely blocked. Legally, permanently. A few hours later, she showed up, the HOA president. But this time, her energy had changed. "This is unacceptable," she said sharply, walking straight up to the gate. I stayed calm. "It's legal. This road is HOA access." I shook my head. "No, it was permitted access. That's not the same thing." Her jaw tightened. "You're retaliating." "No," I said evenly. "I'm enforcing what's on record. We're going to sue you." I stepped a little closer, lowering my voice. You already started that. I'm just responding the right way. That's when she went quiet, for the first time, because now she understood. Every move they made came with consequences they hadn't calculated. And just like that, the balance of power wasn't what it used to be. So here's the real question. When someone crosses your property rights like this, do you fight back immediately, or do you wait and build your case first? If you enjoyed this story, like and subscribe for more.